Here for example 7, we're going to use your graphing calculator to analyze this graph. So if we want to plug this equation into your graphing calculator, we should probably figure out a few things here. Now this minus 5 here at the end, oops, don't know what happened there. This minus 5 here at the end, that is not in parentheses with the x, so that's not a phase shift to the left or to the right. What you could look at this as maybe rewriting it y equals negative 5 plus 2 cosine x. I don't know if that makes you feel a little bit better, but that just shows that your negative 5 is a vertical translation instead. That means you're going to go down 5, so your graph is going to be shifted down 5. Your amplitude is the 2 here in front, so your amplitude is 2. So that means your graph would normally go from 2 down to negative 2, but what we're going to do is we're going to be shifting all of these down 5. So if we shift them all down 5, that means we're actually going to be going in between, well, if you subtract 5 from here, it gives you negative 3. Subtract 5 from here, that gives you negative 7. So your graph should be between negative 3 and negative 7 on your vertical axis. The period. Well, you look at your b value, and your b is here in front of your x, which is a 1. So if we take 2 pi divided by 1, let's see, divided by 7, multiplied by 10, should be 2 pi. And then finally your phase shift, there is no phase shift. So let's plug this into our graph, into our graphing calculator. And knowing these ahead of time, we should have an idea. There is no reflection, so that means we should have a C shape or a cup shape or whatever. It's going to look like this. It will not be like looking like a bell. So let's plug this in. We're going to go to y equals. Now 2 cosine of x. We need to close off the parentheses here. Minus 5. And before we plot this, should be in radians or degrees. Well, let's see what our graph looks like. First off, here is a nice, pretty straight line. That might not be what we're looking for. So let's look at our mode, what mode we're in. We are in degrees, so that's not going to help us. What we need to do is we need to change this down into radians, hit enter, and then if we go to our graph, see that, oh my goodness. Wow, does that make a difference? And what we can do is we can actually zoom in on our graph. We know that it's between negative 3 and negative 7 because we shift it, so let's change our window. And your y-min is going to be, let's go negative 7 is our y-min. Our y-max will go to negative 3. And then we can also change our x-max and x-min if we want. Let's just look at our positive values. So let's go from 0 to, we go 0 to 10 if we want. But if we draw one whole function in here, one whole period, then we'd be going from 0 to 2 pi. Well, 2 pi is 2 times 3.14, which would be a 6.28. So this should show us one entire period of a cosine function. So here's negative 3, goes down. This is going to be about a 3.14 because that's pi, and then goes back up here at 2 pi. So that is what your graph would look like if you zoomed in on one period of it. If we go back to our original Zoom 6, our Zoom standard, notice how it is a cycle and it keeps repeating. Here's another cosine curve. This would be from negative 2 pi to 0. Here's another cosine cycle starting at 2 pi going over to 4 pi. Keep in mind, since we are in radians, these are still numbers though. So this is still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on. So the end of the cycle is going to be here at 6.28. Don't forget to convert your pi's into decimals if you're using your calculator. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of visualization of what will happen on your graphing calculator when you have to plot something using that wonderful device.